Hello, Transformers fans, and today we are going to be talking about hydrogen peroxide and soaking your G1 white pieces of plastic in it. So, um, I got myself a product from my local Sally's beauty supply store. It is a 12% solution, and the last pieces I ended up soaking were some of the Generation 1 Jazz. Two doors, and the pieces for the front wheel wells here, and part of the hood. Um, these had been soaking in the solution for about three and a half weeks, and it ended up taking that long because in that time frame, because it's winter here, we never actually really had any direct sunlight. Couldn't see the sun except for about 3 days, give or take a half a day. So the solution was never actually able to do the job, and pieces are finally white. I know you probably can't see that too great because this new camera I got doesn't really zoom. I mean, it zooms, it just doesn't focus all that great, unfortunately. But pieces are finally white. Like I said, it took, roughly three and a half weeks. These pieces were heavily yellowed. Um, my experience is I've never actually had a piece of white plastic for my Transformers collectibles only take the 2 days that I've seen and watched in other reviews online, and that is quite unfortunate. Um, I had a G1 Ultra Magnus pieces soaking in the solution. Um, Before I got to 12%, used the 3% solution. It was soaking in that for 3 days. Only took out about half of the yellowing in the 3 days time. Then I got the 12% solution, and it actually whitened those pieces up perfectly within 2 days for a total of 5 days. Now, I did have two other pieces. The two spoilers for Jazz. Um, those are still soaking in the 12% solution. They still have a minuscule amount of yellowing still left on them. I'm just trying to check to see if I can get it to whiten up any further. And once again, today it's snowing, so no sunshine again. But these doors, you notice it doesn't have these stickers on them, and that's because when I had got Jazz here, the stickers were actually peeled up to right about here, just from the age of them, and due to the fact that they had been soaking in the solution for so long, they had pulled back about halfway, so there was really no point in keeping them on there, especially with the fact that I have the Repro label set for Jazz from ToyHacks.com, um, and you are going to want to make sure that these pieces, any of the white pieces that you're using, you want to make sure that you pull the pieces apart, like I have here. You don't want any metal to be in with the hydrogen peroxide. Um, the metal will rust in the solution. The screws will rust. The pins that they have in for the wheels will rust. And kind of strange the fact that the metal on the doors here um, never even rusted, even after being in there for 3 weeks. And I really don't know if this is like a stainless steel or what, because I mean it's got like a slight tinge to it, but there's no rusting on it whatsoever. But any of the other kinds of metal, the screws, and the normal friction pins for the wheels, those will definitely end up rusting. Um, at least it has been on anything that I've ever soaked in the solution. And like I said, these were very heavily yellowed. Um, you're gonna want to get yourself a good cleaner. Um, I ended up ordering something online. It's called Plastics Clean. Plastics with an X instead of the CS, and Clean, Kleen. The product works good. It takes off all the oils and dirt from the exteriors, and it gives it a nice sheen or shine. It makes it shiny. It's one of the reasons why. I mean, you probably can't actually see it, but kind of wish I was using my other camera at the moment, because at least you'd be able to focus in and actually see what I'm seeing here. Um, but the stuff works great. The only unfortunate part is if you're not careful using it, it will take off the design or details of the sticker um, when that happens to touch it. So all the printing, all the designs will definitely come off. But it works. The solution has worked, but the only unfortunate thing took way too long. Um, and that has to do with, like I said, the amount of sunlight that direct sunlight that I've actually had here in my area. Also, the fact about how yellowed these items actually were. Now, um, mm, do have a little bit of like dried paint from when my son was putting together his model. This is kind of like a yellowish brown color right here. This paint. Um, that's pretty much the kind of color that these ended up looking before they were put in the solution. Um, you know, don't really want to say it to that point of fact, but it had the kind of look of like tobacco staining mixed with like the yellowing from the aging plastic from sitting out in the sun for too long. So um, that's the reason why it ended up taking as long as it did for these to turn white. Um, and this solution right here does actually come out of the bottle a white color. Um, the solution, I had to switch out 3 times, and I had to use the cleaner on the pieces 3 times. So every time I took them out, washed them, dried them off, used the cleaner on them just in case any of the oil or dirts could have actually leached out of the plastic if the plastic actually soaked them in. Um, just to help out with helping make sure that they get cleaned better, and so that the way the yellowing would actually come out. And normally the more yellow staining that you have on the outside of the plastic could possibly mean that the yellowing has actually penetrated into the piece of plastic itself. So because of how yellow these were, yeah. The two spoilers, there's not much yellow tinge on them right now, uh, but in certain spots, I mean, if you just want to try to make sure you can get it off with like a piece of sandpaper from like a modeling kit, um, I tried a 12,000 grit ultrafine sandpaper on the spoiler, just a little rub down here and there. Um, no, it didn't work. So the yellowing is still actually just below the surface of the plastic. So like I said, don't be surprised if this ends up taking you anywhere from 2 days to 3 to 4 weeks. My personal experience. Hope this video is actually helpful to anybody else that's been trying to do this. Thank you for watching.